And it is time for Hockey to the Max with Penguin forward Max Talbot. Max, welcome as always. We promoted the fact we're going to have Game 5 and the Outdoor Classic. First of all, what do you remember about the Outdoor Classic? Had you ever played any games as a kid or as a junior outdoors?
Not really. As a kid, you go in Canada around, there's outdoor rink everywhere, so you just go and skate, whether on the lake or, in the wintertime. But I was actually hurt for that January 1st Buffalo game last year. I had an ankle sprain. Me and Marc-Andre Fleury watched that from the sidelines down there. It was crazy. I had a chance to do morning skate because my ankle was kind of weak, but I could skate. So it was a good experience. But me and Fleury was just throwing snowballs at the Buffalo mascot down there. So it was still a great memory to watch it.
The dreaded high ankle sprain, the year of the high ankle sprain. You were not sidelined, however, for the other game we're going to be showing, which was Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals. You scored the game-tying goal, the season-saving goal, the season-extending goal anyway. And I thought it was rather ironic that the goal against the Red Wings a couple of weeks ago, the very same end. Do you think about that goal that you scored against the Wings in the playoffs much?
You kind of have no choice but to think about it sometimes because all the fans kind of remind it to you. Summertime, all the fans in Montreal, they were obviously watching the Stanley Cup Finals, so they were all talking, what were you doing on the ice? First of all, that was the first question. I'm like, I don't know. And then after that, it was like, save the season and stuff. I think it would have been a little bit more historic if we came back and win the Stanley Cup, but it was still a great game to be part of, and I was lucky enough to put the puck in the back of the net.
I was walking with Eddie Johnston, walking the locker room after Sikora's goal won it, and he said, how about Mike putting Max on the ice at that point? And then EJ said, that kid will go to the front of the net. He'll go to the front of the net, and he'll stand there and take a beating. That's what you were doing out on the ice.
Yeah, that's what I was doing, and I think I was having a pretty good game. I was on the puck and stuff, and Mike had a feeling, and he coached with a lot of his feelings. When he feels that a guy is on his game, he's going to put him out there, and that's why we see so many different line combinations out there during the game. So he's trying to find the right fits, and he's trying to see who's on his game. And I was lucky enough to be on my game on Game 5, and worked out really good.
Well, sure did. You electrified the entire fan base and all of this region. Speaking of making changes, Michael Terry wasn't terribly thrilled with the power play the last couple of games. And Max, there has been kind of a goal drought. Only one goal against Minnesota, only one goal against Vancouver. And I know that he is planning on making some changes to the power play.
Yeah, I mean we're practicing it a lot. I think it's an important part of the Pittsburgh Penguins is our power play special teams. John Keeling has been better over the years. I think the last 2 years we've been improving a lot. And in the NHL, you got to win some games on the special teams, and you got to work on it. And obviously, I don't think we've been at our best yet. So we've been practicing a lot, trying to find the right combination, trying to put the puck in net, maybe less deep sea doodle like we call it, just being more simple. Because a lot of goals in power play came from just battling and trying to win a battle. So I think there's going to be some adjustment to be made, and hopefully we can move on. It's a long season, and I'm sure with the talent we got in this team, I'm sure it's going to come out pretty good.
Well, Mike was quoted as saying you can't always have a pretty tic-tac-toe. It's pretty when it happens, but there's also got to be a mix of some grit, and like you were talking about Game 5 against Detroit, you're in there because you go to the front of the net. With all the high-powered offensive talent on this team, do we sometimes lose sight that it takes a guy to get his fingernails dirty?
Oh, you have to. I mean, yes, you have one guy more than the other team on the ice. It's 5-on-4, but still, you have to win your battles, and this is why you can't just play one-on-one over the ice. It's 2-on-1s all over the ice when you're in power play, and you really have to work it. And if you try to be fancy, it won't work. It's all about grinding it out. Obviously, sometimes you'll get tic-tac-toe, but most of the goals come from the point and battling in front of net. And we were actually practicing that today, and it felt good. A little, competition in front, and you got to win the battles.
Were you being used at any point on either one of the top 2 power play units?
Well, I had a chance to try to start it here and stuff, and obviously, like I said, he's trying a lot of different combinations. Hopefully, guys are gonna get their chance, and it's you got guys like Sid and Gino, and they're so good out there. So it's not a word how it's gonna come out. It's when, and I'm sure it's gonna come out pretty good soon.
Max, in the game against Atlanta, Pascal Dupuis was up on the number 1 line. Will you be back on the #1 line for the game Wednesday against the Islanders, or is that still up in the air?
It's still up in the air, and it can change pretty quick in a game. But this morning I was practicing with Sid and Miroslav Satan, and Dupuis was back on the second line with Gino and Sikora. Is it going to stay like that? We don't know, but you know, that's a good thing about it. You have to stay sharp and battle and try to keep your spot on the first line, the second line, and you got to be ready to move in between a game, and it's okay.
I want to ask you about Saturday's game, just a mindset. Roberto Luongo gets hurt early within the first 5 minutes. And nothing against Curtis Sanford, but is there an automatic tendency to say, oh, good, he's out, and maybe you relax a little bit?
You can't really say if that's what happened, but, you know, I think we had a lot of chances in that game. We had more scoring chances than they had, and you know, some games are going to happen like that. It was not a pretty game. It was just, you know, I think it was not the most exciting game that happened. It was good to have the scrap, and you know, I think they deserve to win. And you know, Roberto Luongo, it's sad for him. He's one of the best goalies in the league. But Sanford, I think, came out strong out there, and you know, I think every first goalie they came there and stuff, they have a good backup goalie. I know Danny Savran was the Luongo's backup, and you know, he was solid. And unfortunately, we couldn't win that game.
Now, you're going to be on the island on Wednesday night, and then you play in Buffalo on Friday night. Of course, both those games right here on FSN Pittsburgh. But in between is Thanksgiving. So, what more could anyone want than Thanksgiving Day in Buffalo? It's a perfect place. Does the team plan a get-together? Do you all have your Thanksgiving dinner together? What happens on a day like that?
I can't wait to be there. Buffalo's awesome. It's like New Year's Eve last year in Buffalo. It was great. It was the best time of my life. I don't know. I'm sure we're going to get together Thursday night, the night before the game. We're going to have a little turkey and stuff. But for us, a Canadian player, it's not. Thanksgiving was a month ago. It was in October. So, and even for us, the Quebec part of Canada, Thanksgiving is not that big of a deal. So for me, you know, yes, I'm happy to celebrate, eat some turkey, and you know, enjoy it with the Americans. But you know, Buffalo, Thanksgiving, I don't know, it should be fun, but I'm sure the guys are going to be focused to play Friday.
So in Quebec province, Thanksgiving, even though the Canadian Thanksgiving is in October,
yeah,
it's not that big of a deal, but it is to the guys in Ontario and
yeah,
western parts of Canada?
Yeah, the English part of Canada is more Thanksgiving in October, and they celebrate it a little bit. I don't think it's as much important as the Americans. I think that, you know, but for us in the French-Canadian, we don't celebrate that much. It's not that big of a deal. Maybe we'll eat some turkey, but you know, it's not that much of a big deal.
So you're likely to order a hamburger with cranberry sauce on it or something like that?
No, I don't think it'd be good before a game.
I guess not.
No, probably not.
And no buffalo wings, not before a game, even though you're in Buffalo.
No buffalo wings. You know, Buffalo's the best city in the world to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Okay, there you go. You take a little smile there? You should have. All right, Max, have a good Thanksgiving, whether you're into it or not. Have a good road trip, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank you.
Okay, it's Hockey to the Max with Max Talbot right here every week on Sportsbeat on FSN Pittsburgh.
Savran on Sportsbeat Late Night is brought to you by